If you're anything like me, I know that you are wanting to find more clarity in your business and your everyday life so that everything that you do, is driving towards the goals and purposes that you have and that you believe you've been called to. You are listening to Homeschool Moms in Business, where I help homeschooling moms gain clarity and create effective, systemized business plans around their creative passions, empowering them to confidently launch and grow their businesses while only working 10 hours or less a week. I'm Samantha Welch, a homeschool mom and creative business coach who turned my photography passion into a thriving business, all while keeping my schedule manageable and family-centered, and I'm here to help you do the same. So in this episode, we're going to talk about finding clarity on what success really looks like for you. Not your neighbor, not an influencer that you follow, but actually you, because there's not a one-size-fits-all. When I first started my photography business, I thought success looked like booking 30 weddings a year. That's what I saw the other photographers doing, and everyone was boasting about how they had all these weddings and they were doing all of this and making so much money. It seemed like it would be a dream, right? Just to have 30 couples who wanted to use me for their big day. But when I actually reached that milestone, or even actually got close to it, I realized that didn't align with my family needs or my personal priorities at all. In fact, it left me feeling really overwhelmed and underfulfilled and having a lot of guilt around just not doing what I actually knew was important. That experience taught me a powerful lesson. Your success story is uniquely yours, not anyone else, and it's not going to look like everyone else. That's okay too. In fact, it's amazing that God created us all where we're all so individual and so unique that our stories would be different. So today we're going to explore how to define success on your own terms, align your goals with your values, and find joy in small, consistent wins that truly matter. Okay, so let's talk about why defining success is critical, because you have to know what success looks like for you. It's so easy to fall into the trap of chasing someone else's vision of success, especially if you have people that are close to you who believe that you should be doing something that you know you're not called to. And social media makes this especially hard too. If you're scrolling through Instagram and you see someone who seems to have it all together and have that thriving business and that picture-perfect homeschool setup and the spotless home, and then suddenly you think, well, that's what I need to aim for. Like, why isn't that me? But here's the truth. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all. It is very, very personal. For some, success might mean hitting a six-figure income and pursuing that. For others, it might mean working 10 hours a week and having plenty of time to invest in their kids and school and home. Both are valid, but only you can actually decide what is right for you and what God has called you to. When we chase goals that don't align with our values, we risk having some major burnout and being dissatisfied with life. And as homeschool moms, we already have enough on our plates. We don't need to add the pressure of living up to someone else's dreams. So let's go through some actual practical ways that you can start gaining clarity. So I'm going to take you through some journaling prompts, or if you're like me and not a journaler, go ahead and get your voice memo or your Google Record app open and just talk it out. That's how I usually have my breakthroughs. So let's get practical. I want you to take a few minutes after this episode, or even just pause it now if you can, to reflect on these questions. So the first question I want you to think about is, what matters most to me and my family right now? Think about what's truly important in this season. Is it more quality time together? Is it financial stability? Is it simplifying your daily routine? Is it just really focusing in on homeschooling because you have a couple kids that are struggling? What is really important, and what do you know in the long-term game is actually going to move the needle forward into what you hold most important and valuable? So just give that a moment's thought. What matters most to me and my family right now? And either journal that or talk it out. The second question I want you to think about is, what kind of life do I want to build for my family in 5 years? So although we want to make sure that we're focusing in on the moment and that we're living in the moment and we're not worrying about the future, we also need to have some sort of vision and plan in our life so that we know what we're working towards. Because if we don't know what we're working towards, then we're not going to ever get there. So picture the big picture. Where do you want your family to be in 5 years? This goes beyond business goals and focuses on the life you're creating. Like, what is important to you? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What is it going to look like 5 years down the road? And then the last question that I really want you to think about is, what would success feel like for me? Notice I said feel like, not look like, because success may not always be about hitting a milestone. It could just be that you have a feeling of peace and joy, and you know that your life is aligned with your values and what you actually hold important. So I want you to really think about that. What would success feel like for you? And what are the emotions that you want to cultivate within your life and your home? So once you get through all of that, whether you've wrote it out or you've voice memoed it so you can listen back to it, now take a look at your current life and business goals. Do they align with the vision you just outlined? Because if you outline that you believe that it is important for you to spend more time with your children, but you're at your computer for 40 hours a week, then we may want to reevaluate. So know that if things are not aligned with where you want to be and what's important to you right now, that is okay. It's perfectly okay. That's why we're doing this exercise, because I want you to take a real look into your life and I want you to gain the clarity so that you can start adjusting things in your life so that it will be in line with what you actually hold important. And since we're kind of on the subject of business and family and what you want both of those to look like, let's talk about balancing business with family life. Because your business should support your family and not compete with it. This is why it's so important to set priorities that align with what's important to you with your homeschooling and your family life. For example, one of my non-negotiables is working as few hours as possible while maintaining my business. That means that I have to be very intentional about saying no to projects or opportunities that don't align with that goal. And trust me, it's so tempting, especially when things are coming at you that you really feel like would be such great opportunities to grow your business, but you know it's going to take away from what is actually important to you. Another key point is understanding what priorities change with each season of life. So right now, my top ministry is raising my kids and being present in their life. When they're grown, my focus might shift, and in fact, it will shift, and that's going to be great. But for now, my business needs to fit into my family life and fit into my pouring into my children and not the other way around. There will come a point where I'll probably be able to put my business more first, but that's not the season that I'm in right now. So, another thing here is a bonus journal thing that I hadn't planned on, but create a list of your non-negotiables. So either write this down or voice memo this and just start this list. These are things that you absolutely must make time for. So if you're homeschooling, that's a non-negotiable. Like, you are responsible for your children's education. So homeschooling must happen. Some other non-negotiables for me is keeping my home clean. That's a non-negotiable. I have to make time for home, keeping up with my home, because if my home is just cluttered, then my brain is cluttered and I'm a mess. Also, church and friendship commitments are super important to me. They are absolutely non-negotiable. I will make time for church and friendships. And then even self-care. So my morning routine is something that is 100% non-negotiable. I have to have a routine in the morning that gets it to where I am nurturing my spiritual growth, I am taking care of myself, and I am getting myself ready to face the day. So that's just an example and a start of some of my non-negotiables. So make a list and start writing down what are things that you absolutely will not sacrifice. And then that will go a long ways to being able to gain clarity on what you actually need to be working on right now as far as in your business and what you need to prioritize in your life. So shifting gears just a little bit, I want to talk about the benefits of small, consistent wins. Because when you're wanting to build a life that focuses on what you know is important to you and your family, we sometimes get caught up in not seeing the results or not hitting those big milestones that we get frustrated. But here's the truth. Success isn't built in one giant leap. It is built in the little everyday steps. Think of homeschooling. You don't expect your child to master a subject overnight. It's going to take consistent practice and consistent reintroduction. It's the daily practice that leads to mastery, and the same goes for your business and your life goals. So set weekly goals that are actually doable. If you're not in the habit of doing something right now, you can't expect that in 1 week you're going to all of a sudden have mastered that goal. You have to start with things that are small. So maybe it's you want to be more present with promoting your business. So you start with posting one piece of content a week. Not 5 times a week, but just 1 a week. And then once you get consistent with doing 1 a week, then you can move up to 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on, again, what's important to you, how much time do you want to spend on that. Also, maybe you're having trouble responding to follow-up emails. Maybe give yourself 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes to respond to emails. And that's it. You're not going to be able to just all of a sudden in 1 week get completely caught up on something that you've been struggling with for the last few weeks or months or even years. These things take time and consistency to build these habits. And once you've built the small habits, it's a lot easier then to add more and create larger habits. Each small step builds momentum, and over time, those wins will add up. I don't remember the quote and who says it exactly, but it's basically like if each day you get 1% better by the end of the year, then you're like, okay, I don't even know, I'm butchering it, but basically all you need to do is just be a little bitty bit better each day. And by the end of the year, it's going to add up to something that's life-changing. So that's always been super encouraging to me, that if I can just be a little bitty bit better today than I was yesterday, and even better tomorrow than I am today, then it will change my life in the end. And also, don't forget to celebrate your wins. This is really hard for me because I am one of those who want to push forward and I want perfection before I'm willing to even celebrate. And my standard of perfection keeps going up with each year. So it's hard for me to step back and actually celebrate what I've already accomplished and what I've already gone through. So I'm speaking to myself along with you. Let's celebrate our small victories, our small wins, those habits that we've spent so much time creating. Let's celebrate those. And so I hope this episode was super beneficial. It was even beneficial to me. In fact, I am fixing to do a whole reevaluation of what I did this year and get ready, because when this episode airs, it is currently almost Thanksgiving, which means the year does not have that much left as far as work-wise, because for me, I like to take holidays off and enjoy all of that without having to worry about work stuff. So yes, I encourage you, take this, do a little journaling or a little talking it out, and just really focus on gaining clarity on what's actually important to you and what success looks like for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode. And if you get through with this episode and you're like, okay, but I need some help with this, then I would love, absolutely love, if you would message me on Instagram and I could maybe set up just like a coffee date call or something and help you talk some of these things out. This is absolutely something that I love doing, and I love when women step into their God-given purpose. So until next time, I hope you have a marvelous week, and I look forward to our next episode together. I hope you walked away from this episode inspired to go and implement these things into your life and business. Remember to head to the show notes to get any links, guides, or discounts that were mentioned. And while you're there, leave me a 5-star review. Your feedback is the only way that I know you're enjoying and finding this podcast helpful. Until next episode, remember, it's those small daily steps that build big dreams.